We have Allan Whatmore from the Growth Studio Agency. Welcome. Give us some fast and quick ideas, some actual insights into how you get the communication, how you get your messaging through. Over to you, Allan.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Mike, for that handover. So we've got 15 minutes for me to give you as much value as possible before I hand you over to the next session. Okay, so today I'm going to go through two simple strategies to help you optimize for client and for prospect engagement. Okay, and then I'm going to invite you to book in a time with me for a free strategy session and or join me in my upcoming masterclass. So some of you might be thinking, why should I optimize for client and prospect engagement? And the answer is because it's good for your clients, it's good for your business, and it's good for yourself. Okay, so when I do these talks and I speak with clients, I'm not interested in perfect, I'm interested in better. Okay, and that's all we're wanting today, to be better. So what happens if I don't optimize my processes? So the answer is you'll end up doing the exact same thing, getting the exact same results. What also happens is as your peers around you start to optimize their processes, the methods that you are currently using will start to become less and less effective. And you'll be effectively moving backwards, which is something that we don't want. Okay. Who can help me optimize my processes? It's a good question. So you can start by doing this yourself. So taking 30 minutes out of your day and thinking about the type of value that you want to provide to your clients, who those clients are. You can also allocate this to somebody in your team as like a champion, and they can really drive these results for you. Or lastly, you can get an agency like us to do it for you, where we'll build a strategy and actually build it for you. So that brings us to the next slide. So who are we? So we are GSA, which stands for Growth Studio Agency. We're a niche marketing agency for the financial service sector. So the name of the business is GSA. We effectively help you look better, book more meetings, book better meetings, all without increasing your headcount. Okay, so my name is Allan. I'm the founder of the business. I spent 11 plus years in the industry. I've spent thousands and thousands of hours working with clients, researching strategies, trying things out myself, and I'll be going through all of my learnings today with you in this session and in future sessions. So I said I was going to go through two simple strategies with you, and that is staying front of mind and over-communicating with clients and prospects. So you'll just see here on the slide, some examples of some text speech bubbles, and you'll probably recognize some of the responses you would have received in the past. This is effectively what we're looking for, right? So let's go through the very first strategy, which is staying front of mind. So what does it mean to stay front of mind? It means that when someone in your network is out speaking to somebody else and they get asked the question, who's a good advisor? Who should I speak to about setting up my portfolios? What's a good equity or credit fund I should look at? What's a good platform? You want to be the very first person that comes to mind and who they mention. And you also want to make it easy for that person to refer you. So what's the risk of not being front of mind? The answer is the risk of not being front of mind is that you miss out on these golden opportunities. And these are some of the best, right? You can see here, I've got a few platforms listed, a few different channels listed here. How do I know if I'm being front of mind? You'll know because you'll start to see more responses like, what's on the slide in the speech bubbles. Like I said, I've listed a bunch of tools here for you that you can look at. Some of them are paid, but a lot of them are free, and it's a fantastic way to get started. Remember, we're not looking for perfect, we're looking to be better. So next is, how can I get my team involved with this? An easy approach is by simply booking in a session with your team and having this as a talking point. So you can also come to us and ask us to speak to your team for you, and we'd be more than happy to do that as well. It's important to get input from the team along this process. And I know this is something that's been mentioned in previous sessions as well. And the reason why it's good to do this is because it triggers the input and the ownership bias. If people feel like if they have more ownership into a certain strategy or they put input, they're more likely to follow through. And this is a fantastic way of being able to really drive this forward. Does that make sense so far? Okay, the second one is over-communicating with clients and prospects. So what does it mean to over-communicate? Over-communicating means when you have something of value to say, you say it, right? It doesn't need to be in the annual review. It doesn't need to be in the quarterly portfolio changes or in the monthly investment committee meeting. You have something of value to say, you say it. What are the risks of not over-communicating? The risks of not over-communicating is that you just simply won't be front of mind. I think it was in a previous session earlier by Beta Shares, the amount of information that we all consume is put in front of us every single day. It is virtually impossible to be able to get everything in one single meeting. They use the term, have 2 or 3 shorter meetings instead of one long meeting. You can also replicate this approach using digital and virtual channels as well. So how often should I do it is the next question. Basically, you do it when you have something relevant or of value to communicate. It doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be super polished. Remember, we're looking to be better, not perfect. You can always get better over time, but you've got to start somewhere. All right, the next question is, how do I avoid overdoing it? And the answer is you avoid overdoing it by making sure that when you do it, you're being relevant. You're trying to avoid a simple stock standard message that looks like it was meant for everyone and not meant for the one individual person. You want to make sure that when you do it, you come across human, like that, like the financial coach that you are, or the consultant, or you name it, right? You want to add lots of context to your message. Avoid just sending just a link or just forwarding an email if you can. Take some time, add some context to it, and you definitely know the person on the other end is going to appreciate it. And the best part is you can actually build systems to do this for you so that you'll spend more time in creating the value and less time in having to drive that value, if that makes sense. And the last bit also, tip is make sure the info that you send, if you can, causes minimal disturbance, but has the highest chance of being seen. So for example, if you come across something like an article at 11:30 p.m. at night, you probably don't want to send a text message, but you can definitely send an email, or you can craft an email and schedule to send it the next day. Okay, and so basically we've covered 2 really important concepts so far, and that's staying front of mind and over-communicating with clients and prospects. We've talked so far about the benefits of each one. Remember that this is what we're looking for, these speech bubbles. When you get these speech bubbles, you're on the right track. And you can always iterate and get better at it over time. We've talked about the tools that are in place that you can utilize. Like I said, some are paid, but many of them are free. And we've talked about how you can implement these strategies, either by doing it yourself, allocating it to somebody in the team, or getting a firm like GSA to come in, build it, and execute it for you. I told you I was going to give you a chance to book in a free strategy session with me or join my next masterclass on website essentials for financial services. So you'll see on the slide that there's 2 QR codes. You can either book in a session with myself or you can join our upcoming masterclass on website essentials. In my experience, your website is one of the most effective and powerful tools that will move the needle the most. And the reason being is because any outreach activity that you do, any referrals that you receive, any outbound activity, any emails, your website is the one place that people land before and after meeting with you. So if you're interested in that, I strongly recommend attending that. And I promise you, you'll get tons and tons and tons of value. So that's it from me. Thank you for listening to my presentation. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Any questions for Allan? I said 15 minutes. I didn't really mean it, but anyway.
Thank you.
Any more pearls of wisdom?
Let me see.
What doesn't work?
Let's see. Let me see what I've got. So we talked about what to keep in mind when we're doing it. Remember, you want to come across human. Also, just know the value that you provide to your clients. A lot of times I get questions from people that are concerned, I don't want to come across over the top or that I'm doing it too much. I promise you, you're getting in your own head. If you've got something of value to say and it's relevant, people want to know about it and people will appreciate it. You want to basically set up infrastructure for an open dialogue. The more formal that you make it, the less the other person on the other end is going to want to be open about their situation or what they've seen. You want to create and build systems so that it works for you and it's easy for you. If this is hard, then definitely there's an opportunity to be able to build a system to make it easier for you. Like I said, you can do it yourself, you can get somebody in the team to do it, or you can get a firm like us at GSA to do it. I'll see if I've got anything else. Another question was, how long does it take to set up systems like this? And it all depends. Basically, if you're looking to do a website, you're probably looking at anywhere between 8 to 12 to 16 weeks, all depending. If you're looking at setting up an email campaign, maybe a couple of weeks. Another question I get asked as well is like, let's say I've got my website done, what's the next best system that I should use? And you can see that there's a bunch of stuff that you can do. Website, newsletters, seminars, reviews, social media, you name it, right? And the answer is the one you want to focus on is the one that's easiest to implement and the one where you've already got somewhat of infrastructure to be able to act on it. So we all get into this phase where we're like, okay, I want to do this, I want to create this and this and this. There's all these things that I need to do between now and then, but it seems like such a big task and it just never gets done or it gets put to the side. So you want to start with something, even if it's like a couple of bullet points on an email that you save that you can forward to somebody else. I promise you, you're going to get better and better from there. You just got to start. How am I doing for time? Good? Okay. Thank you for having me.
And again, Allan. Well done, Allan.